Hello and welcome to the Creative Critical Reflection of Your Mind by Ricky Plancher. Your Mind follows a shy and nerdy high school boy named Yoav. He has a big crush on a popular and smart girl named Emily. His friends are Ricky, who's rich, and Thais, who's the average high school girl. They both know he has a crush on Emily, but only Ricky knows that Thais likes Yoav. They then help him get Emily by helping him better dress himself and groom himself. Once it works, he realizes he isn't satisfied with Emily, that he really loves Thais, and they end up getting together. Follows three romantic comedy tropes. The first being the classic friends to lovers tropes. We do this by having Thais and Yoav start off as best friends, with them ending up loving each other at the end and getting together. And by having Yoav fall in love with Thais, complete the trope. And by having Yoav fall in love with Thais, complete the trope. The other trope we follow to a slight extent is the love triangle. Thais likes Yoav, Yoav likes Emily, and Emily likes Ricky. But the reason we don't completely follow this is because Ricky doesn't have a love interest. So even if it was completed, it wouldn't be a triangle. It would be a square. And because it isn't completed, it doesn't go all the way around. When Emily starts liking Yoav is when it really becomes a love triangle, because now Thais and Emily both like Yoav. The last one we follow is the makeover trope, where the main character changes their appearance to get the person that they're in love with. Yoav changes by grooming himself and the way he dresses, and it's assisted by Thais and Ricky. The one trope we do go against in a lot of high school movies is cliques, where students stick to groups of people with the same interests, with Yoav being a nerd and Ricky being popular and Thais just being the average girl. They're all best friends and they're not in any clique. To show that we are going against the trope of high school cliques, we have all of them be in different financial classes, and we show that through mise en scène. We have Yoav dressed in baggy clothes and beat up shoes to show that he's in lower class. We have Thais, who's the driver of her own car and dresses like the average teenage girl to show she's in middle class. And we have Ricky, who's seen wearing expensive shades and isn't driving himself as if he had a chauffeur to show that he's rich. We also use mise en scène to play into the tropes of the love triangle and the lovers and the best friends to lovers trope. We do this by having Yoav mention Emily when the topic wasn't focused on Emily, and we see that Thais has an annoyed look on her face because she doesn't want him to bring up Emily, which gives the viewer a hint that Thais likes Yoav. Wise, the only way we used it to convey tropes of rom-coms is through dialogue. We had Yoav sound excited when Emily's name was mentioned, and he asked if Emily mentioned him, and that shows to the viewer that she's a love interest.
Emily took it yesterday. She said it wasn't too hard.
What? Emily? You talked to Emily? When?
Why are you so worked up?
Yesterday during lunch in the courtyard, she said we just need another case studies in the biological approach. And there's just some vocab in there.
Did she say anything about me?
Other than that, the only other way we really used sound was to match Yoav rushing in the morning to get to school with upbeat music in the background. Finishing our script, it was pretty much time to search for a production company. And since Your Mind is a romantic comedy, we had to look for companies that specialized in that genre. We looked at multiple production companies, their rosters of movies, and how successful they were. And New Line Cinema had multiple romance movies. And it didn't stop there. We checked for how successful their movies were, and we saw they had relative success. So from there, it was a clear choice. Hoping for good success because the more people that see it, the more people that promote the movie on social media. After, we're going to license Your Mind to Netflix and Hulu. They're the two most used streaming services, so our movie is bound to be seen by hundreds of thousands. And this movie is also meant to do very well with people between the ages of 13 and 19 years old. People that age are in high school or middle school or just getting out of high school. This movie can appeal to their imaginations of getting their dream crush or finding that perfect person for them. As people in high school tend to get into many relationships looking for the right person. This can be their reality for them. They can throw themselves into the movie. It was much harder at the start of the year, mostly because I was nervous of how it would sound on camera. But after making a script for the music video and finishing it, and seeing how it turned out, I was much more confident in making another one. So when it came time to make a script for Your Mind, it was a lot easier than before. My shot comprehension skills also got better. I started to realize the differences between certain shots and certain angles and when to use them. One example of that is the close-up, and we put that into effect into this movie. You see it when Yoav opens his eyes and when he's getting ready in the bathroom. It was hard to get those shots, but we understood that those shots were needed, and adding them to the movie made it so much more effective. Understanding editing was a lot easier now than it was then also. I learned the difference between a jump cut and a match cut, and I understand how to use them now and when to use them. And a problem we faced in making this movie was one scene we had a jump cut where a match cut was needed, but in most scenes we had the match cut and the jump cut placed in the right spots, and that makes the movie so much better and it looks so much better. Our understanding of mise-en-scène also grew, and you can see that in the scene with Yoav throwing his clothes all over the place. After that scene, the next shot is him leaving his room, and in the room you can see his clothes everywhere. Compared to the start of the year in the music video, we tried to do that with switching clothes to represent the day of improvement, but we kept messing it up and we couldn't focus on it. But in this movie, we realized the importance and we understood it, and it became a lot easier. The only thing we really used was our phones and a car, if that counts. An example of that is a scene where we needed an alarm to go off at 6:59, which is when Yoav was waking up and realizing he was late for school. But none of us had an alarm clock, so we had to figure out a way around it. And we did. We found out that we could change the time on our phone to whatever time we needed it to be. And we set an alarm and it worked perfectly. Other than that, we just use CapCut on our phones to edit and piece together all the scenes. 3 problems or difficulties while making this film. The first being the lighting in Yoav's room. While we were making the first couple of scenes, we had Yov's room light on, and it was bright enough, but it just wasn't the right color we needed. And luckily, it was 10:30 in the morning and the sun was out. So all we had to do was open his blinds and the natural sunlight came in, and it was just the right color we needed, and it was just the right amount of light too. The next problem was the camera angle in Thais' car. While we were filming in the car, it was hard to find a spot to put the phone so we can film it in the right angle we wanted. And we really didn't find that perfect angle, but we found the best one we could. And it just required me to lean into the frame a bit more, as you can see. The last problem we faced was the time limit. We were over the time that we needed to hit, and we had to cut a couple of our ideas out and a couple of scenes that we had already filmed. But it wasn't a problem because we still get the gist of the story with the 2 minutes that we got. So it turned out being just fine. I want to thank you for watching the critical reflection of your mind. I hope you enjoyed.